Legal counsel for fraud squad members queried in court. PNG removed from international monitoring list. And Grand Chief given royal welcome to last Governors Conference.
This is National EMTV News with Hope Imaka.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is Thursday's news. Papua New Guinea has been removed from the Financial Action Task Force grey list. Bank of PNG and the Department of Justice and Attorney General said this outlines the commitment of the PNG government to maintaining momentum on combating money laundering and terrorist financing in PNG. PNG was placed on the international monitoring list of the Financial Action Task Force in 2014.
The Bank of Papua New Guinea and the Department of Justice and Attorney General held a joint media conference to announce the removal of PNG from the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF. FATF is an international body that operates as a peer review mechanism holding governments accountable for their commitment to fighting international crime and improving financial stability. PNG was criticized for failing to establish and implement adequate measures to combat money laundering and terrorist financing, hence the grey listing.
Money laundering and terrorist financing are a lucrative business for those who are involved in that. And they thrive in environments where there are weak laws and weak enforcements. Both involve the use of the country's financial system and undermine the stability and sovereignty of a nation.
The National Coordinating Committee was established as a response and co-chaired by the Bank of PNG and the Department of Justice and Attorney General. They began the task of institutional reforms, the passage of 2 brand new pieces of legislation, and the revision of 3 other laws. In June this year, the FATF plenary voted to remove PNG from the grey list.
So the establishment and growth of the National Coordinating Committee was crucial to this outcome. Partnership. PNG worked in close partnership with peers in the region. We learned from the experiences of our brother and sister jurisdictions in the Pacific, and we reached out to those who were prepared to think with us, not for us, but invited them in strategic partners who invested their time supporting our leaders to produce PNG solutions suitable for our country.
Whilst being removed from the grey list is a significant accomplishment for PNG, the committee said PNG remains under close scrutiny from their international and domestic peers to ensure the systems now in place continues implementation. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea has been negotiating international trade and investments without a trade policy. According to Trade Minister Richard Maru, this will change by September this year. Speaking at the Customs Consultative Forum this morning, Minister Maru said this policy will provide a roadmap and will give PNG a better footing in future negotiations.
In terms of export, because we've never had a trade policy.
Minister Maru said at the moment there is no statistics in place to inform the government on who the most important trading partners are.
Because we've never had a trade policy that will guide who we should do business with, make sure we have enough funding to push trade and investment, support PNG Customs to help us enhance trade. Because we don't have a policy that basically tells us which roadmap to follow in terms of trade and investment.
This he hopes will mean more effective service delivery from relevant authorities and open doors to other revenue streams for the country.
The objective of government is simple. We must reduce the cost of doing business. We must improve the turnaround time. Like within a day, your goods when it arrives should leave the port, should get out of the warehouses, and we should be doing business. We must also start to look at export taxes for companies who are using our raw materials and exporting to the world, like our fish.
For the Trade Office and officials, this policy will mean stability.
One thing it will do now is it will put trade in the forefront of the way we do business with other countries, trade investment. And one of the other things it's going to do is we're going to have an independent trade office that should not be tossed around between foreign affairs and trade. Every government comes, they push trade office between the two departments.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The National Court in Port Moresby has heard that lawyers eligible to represent the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate are those from the Public Prosecutor's Office. Lawyers representing Police Commissioner and Justice and Attorney General submitted that Fraud Director Matthew Damaru and his deputy Timothy Gitua should not be represented by private lawyers. This case is in relation to the warrant of arrest for Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. The case was heard by Justice Ambeng Kandakasi and Justice Derek Hartshorn and Justice Stephen Casman.
The argument is if individuals are representing the interest of the state in a court case, who should the appropriate lawyers be? According to our constitution, individuals who represent the state's interest are only eligible to lawyers from the public prosecutor. However, if they wish to engage private lawyers, they have to seek approval from the Justice and Attorney General. For this proceeding, Chief Superintendent Matthew Damaru and his deputy Timothy Gitua had engaged JAMA lawyers and later the Queen's Counsel, Greg Egan, to represent them. This legal representation was challenged by Ian Molly and Mal Varitimos, the lawyers appearing for Police Commissioner and the Prime Minister, on the grounds that they failed to get an approval from the Attorney General. In court yesterday, Damaru and Gitua's lawyer, Terry Lambert, argued that though his clients were private individuals, they were representing the state's interest and had the right to private lawyers. However, Molly objected to the submissions, stating that Damaru and Gitua had failed to seek approval for private lawyers. The courtroom became noisy when Justice Kandakasi questioned Molly and Varitimos, saying if a party is to contest a legal battle, they have the right to a lawyer. In response, Varitimos said it is PNG law that the public prosecutors are rightfully the legal representative for Damaru and Gitua. The three-man bench will make a ruling on this after considering the submissions. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The Supreme Court will decide on whether or not they should recall Parliament to debate the motion on the vote of no confidence next Tuesday. The three-man Supreme Court bench comprises Chief Justice Sir Salamo Injia, Deputy Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika and Justice Colin McHale. Yesterday, the opposition leader Don Pollier proved to the court that he had an interest in the matter as the leader of the opposition. The opposition has been denied 4 votes of no confidence so far. The matter was filed by Pollier for the Supreme Court to recall Parliament to debate the vote of no confidence. Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare was taken to his old high school, Dragahafen, in Finschhafen district as part of a series of events honouring his last attendance of the Momase Governors Conference before retirement. The 80-year-old founding Prime Minister was given a welcome worthy of a Grand Chief as he caught up with old schoolmates, including former Morobe Premier Sir Jerry Nalau.
The Morobe province has always held a special place for the Grand Chief, Sir Michael Somare. It was here that the young Michael Somare was sent to attend school. This morning he was flown into Finschhafen, the event marking one of the many highlights to honour Sir Michael as the months count down towards his retirement.
It was the soil in which I grew up, and I turned 16, and I spent 6 years in Finschhafen. We came from, we work with quite a number of us from Madang, Sipik, of course the Morobens, a number of them.
Sir Michael spent some time at Butaweng Hospital and then delivered a short address covering various issues, including a recount of historical events.
Now, Mr. Finish Law Politics, all close to now, my 48 years below me, 49 years below me, sorry. Mami finish, me go. Tasomila looking Papua New Guinea, number one for good country.
Among the delegation that welcomed him was Sir Jerry Nalau, former Morobe Premier, former schoolmate and former administrator of Simbu during the visit of the Prince of Wales at Independence.
Jerry and myself and from Finchafen, former so speaker's father, Jibang Sufui Zurano. We were in the same class, and Jerry was he was our youngest, maybe 1 or 2 years older, younger than me, but we were together. And Jibang Sufuyu, former member of House of Assembly, National Parliament. He was our prefect at the time.
Sir Michael arrived yesterday in Leh, and while this is the Momase Governors Conference, the governors have added highlights to honor Sir Michael's presence. Tomorrow, the Governors Conference begins. It's when serious discussions of cross-border trade with Indonesia will take center stage. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Leh.
Tussle over the Hela Governor's post, new intakes to the police dog unit and B-Mobile Vodafone's buddy pack. Those stories after the break. Welcome back to the news. Komamangarima MP Francis Potape has handed a report to the Department of Provincial and Local Level Government Affairs over the election of Philip Undialu as Hela Governor. MP Potape alleged that MP Undialu was elected illegally outside the Assembly's standing orders. Meanwhile, Deputy Governor Thomas Potape says MP Potape is the legitimate governor and not Undialu.
2 days after separate governors of Halawa appointed, Komomagarima MP Francis Potape declared that he is the rightful governor of Hela. Potape alleged that Undialu colluded with Department of Provincial Government Affairs and other known members of the Assembly to vote him in.
What happened on Tuesday was, especially with the election of Mr. Undialu, was illegal and regretful.
Undialu's election on Tuesday this week in Tari has disgusted Potape over the system and standing orders of the Hela Assembly and the organic law. However, Undialu claimed the processes he followed were legal.
Assembly had a quorum, 7 out of 12, completed our assembly meeting, elected me as a governor.
Hela Deputy Governor Thomas Potape says the actions taken by the clerk to proceed and swear Undialu is unlawful.
The election of the Honorable Philip Undialu was the improper and in total breach to the relevant law and the Assembly standing orders.
Also questioned by the two Potapes is the manufacturing of LLG presidents, landowner and church representatives and moves carried out by the Assembly clerk.
The clerk committed a criminal offense. The clerk committed a criminal offense. We are putting the report together and he will be arrested.
With two governors sworn in on Tuesday and two separate reports also submitted to Deputy Prime Minister Celio Dion, the Department of Provincial Government Affairs is yet to announce the legitimate governor of Hela.
Whoever is decided by the government of the day, but I believe strongly that I will be recognized because we follow the system.
Jack Lapave Jr., National MTV News.
The inclusion of 5 purebred German Shepherd puppies to the Port Moresby Police Dog Unit has beefed up the number of police dogs. Though still pups, the German Shepherd breed look like full-grown police dogs. They were flown in from Australia and given to Dog Unit to train as police dogs.
These 7-month-old puppies were donated by OMI Limited, a non-governmental organization that focuses on improving health, education and community safety. OMI Limited's General Manager, James English, who personally assisted in bringing up these puppies, says though the puppies are now with the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary, OMI will still assist in their training to become police dogs. Police dogs can be trained to track suspects, detect explosives and control crowd movement. For the Apex security operation, the police force will be depending on police dogs to do special operations, especially sniffing of drugs and explosives. The donation is the first of its kind in a long while, and these puppies will be trained for official police duties. Police Commissioner Gary Baki, when receiving the puppies, said the inclusion is significant for the force because police dogs play important roles in major police operations. Meanwhile, renovation work is being done on the old dog kennels. A naming competition will later be staged to select names for the puppies. At the moment, they are yet to be named. These puppies are worth over 100,000 kina. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
Papua New Guinea is not served well by having a monopoly mobile carrier. It needs to have competition and innovation. That's from B-Mobile Vodafone Group CEO Sundar Ramamurthy. He was speaking at the launching of the new Buddy Pack promotion. Mr. Ramamurthy says the company aims to bring more competition to the local telecommunication market.
The telecommunications service provider has launched another promotion to expand its consumer base in the country. The Buddy Pack promotion features 2 cell phones with 2 SIM cards. It is a limited time promotion that will be available starting tomorrow at B-Mobile Vodafone flagship shops around the country.
We have released other products in the market, and this time we think the ability to get 2 phones, 2 SIMs in one for 99 kina is really quite an amazing.
Mr. Ramamurthy says the company has been successful with a significant growth of its consumers over the last 6 months. He credited the growth through the partnership with Vodafone.
The fact that Vodafone is one of the largest mobile carriers in the world with over 450 million users, its ability to buy handsets, its ability to buy SIMs, its ability to allow us to package products is one of the reasons why it has allowed us to become very successful in this country.
Meanwhile, the service providers said they will continue to work on other products as well as improving service and coverage. Marilyn Diaukatam, National MTV News.
The Balob Teachers College in Lae now has a new 3-bedroom staff house funded by the Morobe provincial government. Morobe Governor Kelly Naru officially opened this new building, including a generator set funded by the college. But the college is still in need of 8 more staff houses.
This is the new 3-bedroom house which took 3 months to build. The construction of the building was headed by a local contractor company, Jama Building Contractor. The building cost the Morobe provincial government 210,000 kina.
These are funds that came out from our PSIP development funds.
This new staff house is the first infrastructure development in the college funded by the provincial government this year. The staff house was a commitment by Morobe Governor made during the groundbreaking ceremony of the EU-funded project.
This followed a commitment I made last year when I came with the European Union ambassador to do the groundbreaking for the other building. And then I committed this house. And we've now just completed the house and opened it under that PSIP program.
Staff houses have always been a primary need for Balob Teachers College, which currently has 43 lecturers. Most of them live outside of the college and attend to their duties during the week. The college is expected to build 8 more new houses for some of these lecturers.
But the most important thing is we need staff houses because we do not want staff members to stay outside, and when they come, when they get accident, then Teaching Services Commission will come to us and say, these are my, employees. What is happening?
Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Lae.
The Education Division of Lae District is currently conducting Teachers in Service course for 21 schools in the city. The Lae District Education Manager Kaumu Laga says priority areas of the in-service training are phonics, grammar and genre. Focusing on these priority areas, Laga says it will help the teachers to impart quality education to the students.
I visited schools since Monday, and I see how teachers are contributing, how they are cooperating, how they are dedicated themselves to learn new ideas, share new ideas, and hopefully at the end of the week they should go out well equipped with some good knowledge and skills to teach the students.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina opened unchanged at $0.3160 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3085 US dollars, $0.4078 Australian dollars, $0.2751 euro, and 30.84 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and cocoa closed higher, while coffee and copper closed the day lower. Palm oil and copper closed lower, while crude oil is trading the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 78 points higher, the ASX is trading at 33.5 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 29.29 points higher. Stories making headlines overseas when we come back, including Prime Minister Peter O'Neill's visit to China. Welcome back. Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister Peter O'Neill was welcomed by his Chinese counterpart Li Keqiang in Beijing yesterday. O'Neill and Li sat down for talks after inspecting the Guard of Honor and witnessed a signing ceremony that will enhance relations between the two governments, especially for greater access to the Chinese market for Papua New Guinean agricultural products. China has also put forward a proposal for a free trade agreement, which is being carefully considered by Papua New Guinea. At the invitation of Li, O'Neill is on a visit from the 5th to the 9th of July. Overseas in Japan, Kaori Sato, an independent candidate running for election, waved the rainbow flag on her campaign trail in Tokyo ahead of the upper house elections. She is not a member of the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender community, but a member of a growing number of Japanese politicians and parties who are reaching out to the LGBT voters.
For the first time in Japanese political history, all major established parties are wooing in one way or another a community that until recently has been ignored. Sato says that while there have been some attempts in the Japanese parliament to help the LGBT community, nothing concrete has been proposed. Her stance to legalize LGBT rights has already attracted some LGBT supporters who are dissatisfied with vague promises of the major parties. For the ruling Liberal Democratic Party, led by Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, just the mention of the LGBT community in its manifesto is considered game-changing. It had never done so in the past. The LDP's limited LGBT policy, buried deep in small print in its manifesto, refers only to promoting understanding of sexual diversity. Gaku Hashimoto, a lawmaker in the lower house of parliament from Abe's Liberal Democratic Party, who's on a party committee working for a law on LGBT rights, said a big incentive to including sexual diversity was winning hosting rights for the 2020 Summer Olympics. Attempting at changing the LDP's conservative image in accordance with the IOC's anti-discrimination clause, some politicians like Hashimoto are now encouraged to lead top-down shifts in the party's LGBT policy. Despite the fact that the LDP still has a long way to arrive at consensus in legalizing the same-sex marriage or banning discrimination towards LGBT individuals, Hashimoto believes understanding must come first. However, being openly lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender is still heavily stigmatized in Japan, and legally binding same-sex marriage still remains a distant dream. Some couples sport fake wedding rings or enter marriages of convenience, and same-sex couples often have trouble renting apartments together. Conservative values are especially strong amongst voters above 40 years old, the bulk of Japanese voters. While young voters are more accepting, the older generation are less accepting, especially of same-sex marriage, which they think would weaken the traditional family values. Lorraine Gabina, MTV World News.
The U.S. Justice Department is investigating the deadly shooting of a black man by a white police officer. He was killed outside a convenience store.
What occurs on this graphic cell phone video is now the subject of a civil rights investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice. Two officers tackle 37-year-old Alton Sterling outside the Triple S Food Mart in Baton Rouge and pin him down. Someone calls out that they see a gun. Soon after, the officers shoot Sterling multiple times, killing him. Alton Sterling's teen son stood at his mother's side today.
He had to watch this, as this was put all over the outlet.
Inconsolable as community leaders call for justice.
What we're going to do today is root out the 1% of bad police officers that go around becoming the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Black Lives Matter, man.
Residents say Sterling was well known in the community, often selling CDs outside the store.
This is a good person. What? For what?
The officers on scene that night had 7 years combined service on the force and are now on administrative leave. An anonymous 911 call may offer clues as to why they approached Sterling.
Selling CDs on the corner, gun in his pocket. He pulled a gun on a complainant and told him he couldn't be around there.
Local officials, including the chief of police, the governor, and the mayor, addressed the fatal shooting ahead of protests this evening.
We believe that justice will be served. It's not like we need to be handheld and spoon-fed when it comes down to doing what's right.
Sterling's family lawyer says police quickly confiscated surveillance video from the convenience store owner.
Mr. Abdullah said that they had him in his car, did not present him with a search warrant, but went in and took his system.
As for the officers' body cameras,
I was told by the chief of police that both body cams fell off in a tussle. Let's outfit our police officers in body cams that don't fall off.
the chief of police says no stone will be left unturned, while Sterling's loved ones vow to hold officials to that promise.
I, for one, will not rest or not allow him to be swept in the dirt.
A source with knowledge of the investigation tells CNN that those 2 officers involved in the shooting death of Alton Sterling were interviewed Tuesday night by local investigators. At the request of the district attorney, 2 Louisiana State Police troopers were present to monitor the interview.
Trukai Sports is next. We'll have AFL, rugby and netball. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Close to 100 students from the Lay City schools turned up at the Scrum Oval this morning to take part in the Rugby Union School's Holiday Camp program. It is a junior development program that starts at every end of the school holiday term. This is the second program for this year. It's aimed at identifying raw talents.
Through the programs, the talented students will be undergoing a skills training and fitness program before they will be put into their academic squads. Each squad consists of under 14s, under 16s, under 17s and under 18s and will go through a skills program next week.
They'll go through a program for the next week, through all a skills program and then fitness testing.
According to the Junior Development Manager for Morobe, Robin Tarere, the academic squad was developed 10 years ago with more than 50,000 players passing out of this program. After this program, players will be selected for the elite juniors for the under 16s, under 17s and under 18s.
That will enable them to play at international level. And that has been lacking particularly in rugby.
Tarere says the lack of junior development program in the country is a big issue in the development of this code.
So much money and time has been spent, resources have been spent on short-term goals that's not achievable in the development of rugby.
This program is now aiming to develop rugby in the province. The code was introduced in 5 districts in Morobe. The Junior Development Manager is looking to introduce the code into the other 4 districts of the province. Mata Luis, National EMTV Sports, Lay.
PNG Netball is into the second round of trial matches and selection processes for the under-21 women's netball train-on squad. President Julian Lekamaliaki said training and preparations for the girls will be a strenuous process, but the main focus is to select the best players to represent the country at the World Cup regional qualifiers in Auckland, New Zealand.
PNG Netball is now into its second round of trial matches before the final selections can be made at the end of this month to select top 15 players that will go into vigorous training in the lead-up to the World Cup regional qualifiers. From the 15 selected, the squad will cut down by 3 to select the best players that will attend the tournament in New Zealand on September. President Lekamaliaki says from the many talented players identified throughout the year in their trial matches and competitions in the country, the final 12 selected will become their #1 priority to carry out training camps to work on their skills and techniques and plan out strategies that will make them stand out at the regionals.
Second lot of selections, and then there'll be another third lot of selections at the end of July to trim the squad down to the final 15, and then before the team heads off to Auckland we will trim it further down to 12. So it's very vigorous, it's very strenuous, but we want to ensure that the best players are represented at this event.
Countries taking part in the World Cup regional qualifiers will see 6 participating countries, including Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Cook Island, Vanuatu and Papua New Guinea. Top 3 countries from the World Regional Qualifiers in New Zealand will proceed into attending the World Cup in Botswana, Africa. Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
POM Netball Association dominated the Rita Flynn courts in the last 3 days of the Junior Netball Championship. Proving to be the better team, they snatched the under-21, under-17 and under-15 titles yesterday. Central Netball Association took out the under-13 title.
Host Port Moresby took out the 3 titles after beating contending semi-finalists Kairikuhiri, Motukoita and Central. Central managed to prevent a clean sweep by grabbing the under-13 title when they went against POM in the finals. Through 39 round-robin matches, POM remained unbeatable. Central held the runner-up spots for under-21 and under-17, while Kairikuhiri for the under-15. POM settled for the runner-up as well after losing to Central in the under-13 division grand final. Dini Rose Raiko, National MTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back. The AFL development program New Kick has seen a dramatic increase in the number of kids participating since the rollout of the program in schools around the country. From Port Moresby, the school competition also be taken to Lae, Kavieng and Kimbe before all teams will assemble for selection trials. The final team will be then trimmed down to make the national team.
Oceania AFL Development Manager Ben Drew says the school competition in Port Moresby has been running for over a month and the interest shown by kids is outstanding. After the competition, a 2-day tournament will be staged to select a potential academy squad to travel to Australia next year. The AFL PNG development team will also travel to other centres of the country to run similar competitions to identify potential players.
This is a break in the school comp for our national development carnivals, so we travel around the country and what we're looking at is we've hand selected, so the team in Port Moresby have selected the teams for today in the under 13 girls, under 13 boys, under 15 girls and 15 boys, and we put on 2 big days of footy.
After the competition, a 2-day tournament will be staged to select a potential academy squad to travel to Australia next year. The AFL PNG development team will also travel to other centres of the country to run similar competitions to identify potential players.
Next weekend we'll be at Eriku Oval up in Lae, so I'll head up there and see the team up there. We'll do the exact same thing with all our Lae kids. Then I'll head up to Kavieng, do 1 day up there, 1 day in Kimbe and 1 day in home.
The PNG AFL development program has been working hard to develop young players to senior level and the success of PNG Mosquitoes is a living testament of that. The PNG AFL Development Program is a pathway for young aspiring players to pursue their career not only in sport, but other avenues of interest in education and jobs. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
The Port Moresby Futsal Competition is on again, with over 30 registered teams taking part in the event, which will run for 6 weeks. With 8 separate divisions, the competition is held at the Rita Flynn Indoor Complex, with matches played as early as 8:30 a.m. in the morning and from 6 p.m. till late hours in the evenings.
The futsal competition, consisting of 5 players in each team, has been the sport growing in popularity among corporate houses and the general public. The competition started last weekend with all teams playing their first match on day 1. With over 30 teams in the competition, the division include 2 Premier League divisions, Corporate Men's, Corporate Mix, Women's League, Youth Boys League, Junior Mixed and Mixed Division. This weekend will see the competition intensify as teams will be required to play more than 1 match per day. Similar to that, the school's football program currently has divisions ranging from the under 6 through to under 14 students, and is a platform of development that will ensure a large group of future players for Papua New Guinea. Currently, the school's football program has been focused on small-sided games, also held weekly at the Rita Flynn courts. The competition may well be an avenue for footballers to develop their technical skills after the success of men's and women's national football teams in both Pacific Games and the recent Oceania Nations Cup. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Still in football, Cook Islands have earned a considerable advantage over their opponents after claiming a 3-1 victory over American Samoa on match day 2 of the 2016 OFC Under-17 Championship Preliminary. Cook Islands' position has been helped in part by rivals Tonga and Samoa playing out a 1-1 draw to claim just one of the 3 available points in their encounter.
Cook Islands made a swift start to the game, with William Napa and Geosa George showing the finer points of their skill sets in an effort to take an early advantage. But with American Samoa having shuffled captain Gabriel Ta'amua into the backline and bringing on Joe Purcell in the middle, they had a strong spine that made things challenging for their opponents. Keeper John Ugaitafa was called into action fairly frequently in the first half, and his opposite, Manariki Pierre, wasn't without some scares of his own. American Samoa striker Takai Puli looked threatening on a number of occasions, causing trouble behind the backline with his pace. Conroy Tipatua's physical presence made him a threat at the best of times. A poorly executed goal kick allowed him to charge into the penalty area with the ball and tuck it past a helpless Ugaitafa to open the scoring. He followed that up less than 5 minutes later when he powered a header in, finishing off a perfectly delivered corner from Napa. The 2-goal advantage didn't last as long as the Cook Islands were hoping, when the ever-present Puli finished off a brilliant piece of play from American Samoa to keep his side in the game going into the second half. A double change for Cook Islands at halftime gave the side fresh legs to rely on, and for a sustained period they dominated, but for some poor finishing. Late brilliance from Kimiwara Namatua eventually made the victory clear after weaving his way into position to slot low under Ugaitafa with just a minute remaining before the final whistle. Jeremy Mogi, National EMTV Sports.
The International Cricket Council is partnering with the High Performance Centre to coordinate an education program for PNG athletes around the country. The program is to be hosted at the Taurama Aquatic Centre on the 26th of July, and entry will be free for the first 100 athletes.
The International Cricket Council will partner with Papua New Guinea High Performance Sport to deliver an athlete career education program for all athletes. ICC East Asia Pacific Development Manager Kieran McMillan and Athletes Career Education Coordinator Richard Ora will work closely with HP Director Aaron Alsop to host an ACE workshop including some ICC cricket specific content for PNG athletes. ICC will work with HP to help support and deliver the programs as part of the requirements for the development programs. This will provide opportunity for athletes to effectively communicate with their guest speakers and mentors to discuss topics such as career education, personal development and life skills. HP Director Alsop supports the concern of organizers to also conduct a variety of capacity building and professional development outcomes with all staff to complement current programs and education curriculums. Macmillan says the ICC recognized potential in PNG to have an effect in the world cricket arena. The Open ACE workshop is for any provincial or national squad athlete from any sport and will be held at the Tarama Aquatic Indoor Centre on Tuesday, July 26th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. Entry is free for the first 100 athletes. One of the guest speakers on the day will be Sanj Silva, a former first-class cricketer in New Zealand and Sri Lanka, whose playing career ended in 2001. Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. I'll have the weather details for the next 24 hours after these short messages.
Trukai Sports.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, mostly fine weather for Port Moresby, Daru and Kerema, and showers for Alatau and Popondetta. In the Momase region, a shower or two for Lae, fine weather for Medang and Wewak, and thundery showers for Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands, fine weather for all centres. And in the Highlands region, a shower or two for all centres. Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Legal counsel for fraud squad members queried in court. PNG removed from international monitoring list, and Grand Chief given royal welcome to last Governors Conference. And that's the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Hope Imaka. Pleasant viewing. Good night.